Boundaries present themselves in a really unique way. They're not necessarily very comfortable at all. Yet, in order to be able to have thriving relationships, thriving smecks, to make good money, to feel self expressed, we have to understand the rules of boundaries and be able to identify what's happening in our body as we're creating them. So, when we're very young, we get the message that our whole original essence is not okay, that there's something about us that would lead to losing a sense of love or safety or belonging. And this can happen in a really intense way. It can happen in a really subtle way. When we're very young, our brains are not fully developed. So the way that we interpret something is very different at that age than when we are now. So we get the message that being really loud and out there, and mom and dad or the parental figures come in and say, hey, quiet, it's too loud, be quiet. And we register that as, oh, I'm going to lose love, and therefore if I lose love, that means I'm not safe, and that means that registers as like terror in the body. Like, if I don't have my adults there taking care of me, loving me, looking after me, and then creating safety, I won't belong, and I'm going to. That's how it feels in the body, and that's why it feels so intense. Now imagine if there's even greater developmental trauma. Imagine that there's a lot of yelling in the home, or that you see forms and levels of violence, or mental health issues, or a variety of things, divorces, all kinds of things. That even creates even more complex situations. So just even in the smallest, subtlest of ways, this still shows up. So then as we continue to develop, what we do is we go, okay, well, that part of me is going to be too risky. So I'm going to push that down, and then I'm going to create a false self that's more approved of in my unit so that I can continue to get the resources that I desire to have. As this grows into relationship, we start to play out these ways of making sure that we continue to get our love and our safety and our belonging. And we are therefore laying the groundwork for the people in our lives to know how to treat us, how to interact with us. Now, fast forward, you do some work, you do some workshops, you read some books, and you're like, you know what? No, I actually have a different way that I would like to experience this. So then you put up a boundary, and imagine that the way people have been treating you, it's like coming through a door, and then you finally put a screen door up, and then they run into the screen door. The chances of someone actually being able to identify that this is an actual boundary and it's going to serve and create more love, more play, more eros, all of the things, is very limited, and or very, very little that would happen, that someone would identify that. So then they start to actually have a response, a human response, which is like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell is happening? You're not behaving in the way that I've always interacted with you with. And the brain is, again, simultaneously the most intelligent thing. And yet, in many ways, it's unintelligent, because we start to have the brain goes, hey, whoa, there's something different here. And I don't want to expend any more energy today. And my job is to make sure that we don't expend energy in ways that we don't have to. So I'm going to create a bit of a distress so that you can fight having to learn what's really happening going on here. But that result actually ends up in even long-term issues. So we want to become embodied and understand this experience. So when we are setting a boundary, when we are changing ourselves, we have to have the systems in place. This is how you navigate any boundary in life. You have to have the systems in place to be able to handle not only the charge of experiencing someone else's charge, either directed towards you or they're experiencing it and you're witnessing it, and at the same time, the charge that you're experiencing because of what you're seeing, or that those older wounds, those attachment wounds are coming up of like, oh, my boundary is creating a change in the person that I'm connected to deeply and intimately with. Does that mean that I'm going to lose love, safety, and belonging? So there's a deep process here. So boundaries are the thing. They are the thing that says, if we do this, we will have so much love, so much pleasure, so much big O experiences. We will grow together in ways that are completely unimaginable. And if you want to learn how to actually build the strong systems so that you can approach your relationship in a way that's shaping it towards more pleasure, more connection, more resiliency, more long-term stability, more secure relating. And maybe you just want to attract partners in that way. Maybe as you do this process, you will realize that the partner that you're with or the people around you don't like you in that new version of yourself. And there needs to be systems in place to be able to handle that evolution so that you can start to attract and connect and identify on a deep bodied level, an embodied level on who would support that level of thriving so that you can do what we all came here to do, which is to play, to explore, to grow, to connect. And all of this is woven into my coaching program for men and women. And I would love to hop on a conversation with you, a free conversation, just to dive into what exactly is going wrong in your SMEX, your intimate life, your relating, and closing the gap to what it is that you actually want.